Hi, everyone. My name is Lucia Wang, and today we're going to talk about what to do when a relationship ends. We'll be going over 4 tips on how to survive a breakup. Now, I know with the holidays coming up, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the New Year's, some of us have maybe just broken up with somebody, or somebody had left us, or they ghosted us, whatever, right? And we're left feeling confused and brokenhearted. And I, I've been there as well. When I was single for 9 years, I remember many years where I had spent the holidays alone with my family and friends. And sometimes not even that. I mean, sometimes I just was alone with my family for a couple of days, and then that was it. And really, it's kind of hard to get in the joy and the spirit of holidays when you're at a place of sadness, and especially if it was a very good relationship, or someone that you were attached to, it could be very heartbreaking. And during this time of the year, it's just, it makes it harder, because this is the time of year where you're supposed to be happy. Everyone seems to be happy. There are people that are married or together, and they're sharing the holidays together, and you're the oddball out. It is difficult to experience, and I've been there. I've done it, so I understand. And so I just want to, I think this is a topic that's worth talking about. And I know a lot of people have questions. I know when I was single and had went through a lot of breakups, I also had questions about how to survive a breakup. As a matter of fact, I had dated a guy for 8 years, roughly 8 years, before I met my current husband. And I can tell you, when the relationship ended, it was very, very heartbreaking. I cried so much. I thought I was going to die of a broken heart. So I just want to say that you will survive this, and many others have gone before you and have walked in your shoes. And so just have faith and be patient with yourself, and forgive yourself if you do want to be hard on yourself. Try not to be, and just forgive yourself, and know that this too shall pass. So let me just dive right into this. And the first tip is to grieve and to get counseling if needed. This It's important to take the time to heal the loss of a relationship, even if you've only dated the guy for a very short time, and especially if you've been with someone for a very long time. It's still a loss, right? It doesn't matter. At this point, I don't. The issue is not how long you've been dating, or been with somebody. It's the fact that once a relationship ends, it's like a death. It's something that needs to be grieved, like a death. It's a loss. So it's natural that you're gonna feel sad, you're gonna feel heartbroken, and don't be afraid to cry. This is the time that it's healthy to vent, to let your feelings out, and to grieve. The worst thing you do is to take it all in, to bottle it up, and not let your emotions flow. This is all part of the healing process. And although it's not pleasant, nobody likes to cry, nobody likes to feel sad, but allow yourself to feel the feelings that you feel, and grieve. And if you can afford it, I would go to counseling to help you work through this. Um, so why counseling may be helpful is that if you think about your past, let's say 3, 4, 5 relationships, if they all ended somewhat the same way, then you may want to look further into that with a counselor, so they can work with you to figure out what kind of patterns are there that are causing you to continually end up in this same situation. And sometimes it's subconscious. We all have hidden childhood wounds that we've suppressed as an adult. And and I, and I, I believe most of us need to work through those wounds so we can heal and become happy. Otherwise, most of us end up repeating the same patterns in our life with others. And it's a vicious cycle, that if you do have issues that you're not aware of, and you're subconsciously going through life being triggered, and not how to word this, but reacting to your subconscious childhood issues, it will cause unhappiness in your life, and it's very difficult to build a relationship when you're not happy and whole mentally as a person. So I would strongly recommend that you get some counseling if you can afford it, or save money so you can afford a counseling. And with all the resources at your fingertips now on online, on online, take advantage of that. I would spend some time grieving, and maybe read as much articles as you can. There's so much resources out there on how to heal and how to grieve. So I would take advantage of that, and just take your time and let yourself grieve. The second tip is look for the silver lining in the clouds. That's a phrase that we've all heard of, but it's true. In every failed relationship, there are lessons to be learned. Think of each relationship as a stepping stone in your personal and spiritual growth. At the very least, with each relationship, you learn more about what you want and what you don't want. And that's important, and that's true. If you think back on all your relationships that didn't work out, there it's important to take the time to actually think about the failed relationships, and what you could have learned from it. It even if you feel the other person was in the wrong and they wronged you, you still can learn something from the relationship. For instance, if somebody cheated on you, right? So they clearly have wronged you. They violated your trust. You can still learn from that relationship. There's still positive lessons in that you can take away from that relationship. As for so as an example, if you're single, let's say you've been dating someone for a few weeks and all of a sudden they stop communicating with you. That happens a lot. I hear it a lot where people are dating and they've been texting each other for a week or two, and all of a sudden no communication. They've ghosted you. They've totally stopped contacting you, and you're left wondering why. Whatever, and even may ask why, is there something I did wrong? Why did this happen? How come they stopped talking to me? And so there's a tendency for us human beings that when something like this happens, we always want to have closure to a relationship. And sometimes that closure is what keeps us stuck from moving forward with our lives, and just, as I would say, cut your losses and move on, right? It's nice to get closure if someone is at the maturity level that they can sit down with you and actually tell you what they're feeling and why they want to end it. That would be nice. However, I think most human beings are resistant to confrontation. They don't. Most people do not like to talk about unpleasant things, and those are hard conversations to have when you want to break up with somebody, or if you're not, or if for some whatever reason you realize you don't want to be with that person anymore. It's a difficult conversation to have. So most people will take the easy way out, and they'll just stop communicating. So what you need to do is stop taking it personally. Try very hard not to take it personally. It's probably all about them. And if there's something that you did wrong, you don't need to. That's something that it's a negative mindset, and I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't blame yourself at this point. I'm sure you've done all you can in the relationship, and if your significant other decides to leave you, just let it be and accept it. But the silver lining in that situation is you could just be thankful that it was sooner than later, right? Imagine if you're in a relationship with a guy who wasn't true and was confused about his feelings and wasn't ready for a relationship, and this went on for months or maybe years, only to find out years later that they decided they don't want to be in this relationship anymore. That's a lot of time that would have passed. So, at the very least, the one silver lining in a situation like this, when your significant other decides to end the relationship out of the blue, you could be thankful that he was able to do that sooner than later. And so that is something to be thankful about. And if you think about it, there's probably some good memories that came out of that relationship. You might have learned a lot about yourself, and if nothing else, it's just another experience that you had the opportunity to grow right? To provide spiritual growth and personal for your own personal growth. Um, Other examples is that if you're in a long-term relationship or married and the relationship ends, or if you're going through a divorce, which meant I know divorce is a very common thing nowadays. And what's the statistic? I heard before it was 50%. That was years ago. And now I heard for everyone that's been married or divorced one time, the rate of divorce is 65%. So I don't know exactly what the stats are, but it's not good. So if you are going through a divorce and you are in a long term relationship, the silver lining is um, that you can be thankful that, again, that you've had those memories and the time spent with that person. If you have children together, you can be thankful that you could be thankful that you have your children. Children are a great joy in people's lives, and I've never heard anyone that's been divorced regret not having their children. As a matter of fact, a lot of my friends who in family who've been through a divorce, they will tell you that the children are one of their joys of their lives, and they would never trade it in the world for anything. If they had to do it over again, they would still go through what they went through, knowing that they're gonna get divorced because of the joy from having their children. So this is just something, just words of encouragement. If you are going through a divorce, I know it's difficult. It's even more difficult if you have children. There's a lot of issues that surrounds a divorce when you have children. It gets a little bit more complicated with sorting out custody issues and alimony and child support. It's just a lot there when you are married with children. So I get that. I understand that. But it would help to just try to think about what are the positive things that came out of this marriage, even though it ended. I know that's easier said than done, but uh, if you focus on negative things, it will not help you in this grieving process. So, like I said on the first point, the first tip is to grieve. Cry it out if you need to. The second point now, at this point, is to look for the positives, look for the silver lining in the clouds. Okay, and number three is to make your happy list and start doing the things on your happy list, even if you don't feel like it. I know that when I went through my issues, when I went through that, um, the breakup of my 8 year relationship, it was not easy. Even the last two divorces, I would say they're every ending of a relationship is painful. And the last thing you want to do is when someone tells you, "Oh yeah, try to be happy," you're probably thinking, "Yeah, right. You're not in my shoes, right?" But but it is a good advice, and I went through this, so I can tell you, it's even if you don't feel like it, you need to push yourself to do this. Make your happy list and start doing the things on your list, even if you don't feel like it. Uh, for me personally, after that happened, the 8 year relationship I was in, my happy list included, and I'm just going over my list just as ideas that you can think about what you could put on your list. My list included playing golf, listening to beautiful music. I love relaxing, soft, easygoing music. I love it, and I love songs. I love certain opera songs, right? Like Fan the Opera. I just love that kind of music. That's inspirational, especially if it's romantic songs. I love it. I just love it. So, and those things, and these are the things in your happy list are things that actually make you happy. Now, it may take you a while to put together this list because if you're like me and most other people who have been in a toxic or bad relationship, you may not have been happy for a very long time, right? If you're a people pleaser, you will tend to have been the person in the relationship who's done everything to meet other people's needs except for your own. So it may be a challenge to actually think of what makes you happy. This is especially difficult for those of us who've been in long-term relationships. You've been married for years, 20 years, 30 years, and all of a sudden you find yourself divorced and single. It's all you've known is that one person for the last 20, 30 years. You really, and depending if you are a people pleaser or not, uh, if you have been, then it's going to be even more difficult for you to figure out what is it that makes you happy, right? So now this is the opportunity, now that you are going through this and you're separated or divorced, this is the time to finally make time for yourself. Figure out what makes you happy. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be a big long list. As you think of more things, jot them down. But these are another a few things that are on my list was having fun with friends. Okay, I got reacquainted with my friends because some of us women, I would say everybody, a lot of people, when we are in a serious relationship, it's hard to balance our time between friends and family, right? Or friends in general. So a lot of times, especially if you're married and you have a very busy schedule, trying to balance work and family life, there's not a lot of time to spend with your closest friends. But I do believe that you should strike a balance, even though you're in in a relationship, because friends are important in your life, right? No matter what happens to you, your friends will always be there for you if they're really true friends. So what I did was I got in touch with my friends, got them caught up in what's going on. We met for coffee or dinner, and we just caught up on our lives, and I shared with them what happened, and it was a way for me to vent also. And another thing was treating myself to a fruit smoothie once a week. I love fruit smoothies. So when I was single, I made sure that once a week I would go out and buy a smoothie. I would play golf. My routine was I'd play golf, and afterwards I would treat myself to a smoothie. And I did find friends, male and female, that I can play golf with. Well, mostly males. I don't have a lot of female friends that play golf, but I did find some male friends online that were willing to be platonic friends and basically a sport partner. And so weekly, or at least a few times a month, I was able to go and play golf, and it was fun. And afterwards, I would make sure I would treat myself to a smoothie. And then the other thing is shopping for clothes and fashion jewelry. I love shopping, as you've heard me say in my other videos. What woman doesn't like shopping, right? I think most of us women love shopping. So that always cheers me up. And that could be shopping online or in store. Same with fashion jewelry. I love all the girlies, all the girly girl stuff. So that's what I did. That makes me happy. And watching movies. So that's my list. And I know there's more that I could add, but I just want to give you a quick idea of what you want to put on your happy list. Just think about anything that makes you happy. Then trust in the process that eventually, as you do these happy things, positive feelings will flow. That's something to keep in mind. As I said earlier, you may not be in the mood to do these happy things, and the first few times you do it, you're just going through the motions. I get it. I did the same thing, right? But trust in the process. As you practice doing these things, eventually your feelings will catch up to you. They will. It takes time for your mind and body to detoxify, and your mind needs to be reprogrammed to acclimate to a healthy mindset of peace and joy. So, that, especially for those of us who've been in destructive, painful relationships, the more destructive, the more toxic, the more time that you need to take out to detoxify from all of that. So, this is very important. After that painful breakup of mine, I forced myself to go out with my friends and spend time with them. And slowly, and I did this consistently for a few months. Then slowly, I noticed a change in me. And the first thing I noticed was a sense of peace. I just wanted to pass that on to you so that you can kind of see what how the process works. I've read a lot of material on this, and I don't believe I've read too much. I haven't seen anything on the actual what actually goes through what actually happens going through the process. So I want to take this opportunity to share that with you because I think it's important. It has value that it will help you be optimistic. Excuse me, optimistic on this whole process, and it is a process. So you got to be patient, and you have to trust in the process. But the first thing I noticed after a few months was peace. Actually, actually, it was not just a few months. The first few weeks of doing these happy things, the one major thing that I noticed was peace. If you've been in a relationship where there's constant battling, constant arguing, and drama, you will be able to relate to what I'm saying. Because now you're out of a relationship, you're focused on yourself, you're doing the things that make you happy. And the very first thing right out of the bat that you notice is that you're at peace. You're no longer battling, you're no longer at war with that person, right? They're not yelling at you, you're not yelling at them, they're not making you feel bad or making you cry, and you're not feeling a sense of stress, anxiety, pain, hurt, disappointment, all those feelings that cause you to be not at peace, they're gone now, right? So think about that. I know right now as the wound is pretty fresh and if you just got out of a relationship, you're still hurting very, very much. And I understand. But I want to give you encouragement that it will pass. And the very first thing, if you just do these things as I'm suggesting, make your happy list. Excuse me. If you make your happy list, okay, and start practicing those things on your happy list, you will feel a sense of peace very soon. It won't take long. And it's going to feel weird. I'll be honest. When I first started feeling peace, I I've been in such stress, especially in that that last 8 year relationship. I cried so much in that relationship because I was so unhappy. My last boyfriend was not a happy person and a little on the narcissistic side, and I bore the pain of all that, right? And I'm sure if all of you can relate, if you've been in a narcissistic or a toxic relationship, you can identify with what I'm saying. So I spent a lot of time in that relationship unhappy and crying. So now I'm out of it now, right? And after a few weeks, it felt like a burden was off my shoulder. That's the way I want to describe it. It was just total peace. And I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to that. I would not call it boredom because it's not boredom because I am actively pursuing my happy list and I'm doing things regimentally on a schedule every week. I'm pushing myself to do this. And so I'm not bored, but I will be honest with you, it is a very foreign feeling to have peace. And then as weeks go on, you'll begin to cherish and value that peace. Let me tell you, peace of mind it means everything. It's probably the most understated feeling of all. Most people talk about love and being happy, but I don't hear a lot of people talk about peace. Peace is so important. Actually, matter of fact, peace is probably a big sign that you're in a good place in your life. Whether you're in a relationship or you're in a friendship, peace is probably the most understated feeling. And I want to just bring that to the surface on the top of the list as far as what I think after everything I've gone through, the things I've learned is that peace is awesome. So it's not something that you will feel used to in the beginning, but as time goes on, you will come to appreciate and and get used to. More importantly, you'll get used to the feeling of peace. Okay, so to recap that part of it, just know that in time, peace will feel normal to you. The most important thing I want to say is with respect to this happy list is that when you're at peace, it will become the new norm in your mind and in your life, so that if you ever are in a situation again, God forbid, if you ever find yourself in a situation, a relationship where it's not bringing you peace, you want to feel it right away. See, this is why getting yourself ready and your mind reprogrammed and retrained is so important. It's because whatever you were used to before became your motive operandi is what they call it, right? It's become your, you don't even realize it, it's become normal to you, which is not normal, but because you've been in that situation for so long, that toxic situation, you've learned to live with it. And so given a certain amount of time, especially a long period of time, you get used to it and think it's normal. But as you heal and you regain peace again, and you stay in this peace for at least, I'd say, 6 months, enough time so that it becomes second nature, where you get used to the feeling of peace and what that feels like in your mind, your heart, and your soul, right? Then the beauty of this is that when you ever get into another relationship again, you will know immediately if you're not at peace. Your body, your body language and your feelings will be the guide for you at that moment, so that you don't find yourself in a toxic situation or tolerating a toxic situation ever again. That's why it's important to to go through this, go through the grieving, make your happy list, and experience the peace and practice the things that make you happy. All this will help with the peace process, will help you in developing peace of mind. Okay. Okay. And the last but not least, the fourth thing is to have faith and know that as you surround yourself with positivity, you will heal and you will transform into a new version of yourself who is stronger, healthier, and happier. The most valuable result of this healing process is that your radar and filter has been repaired and realigned so that dysfunctional and toxic people won't feel normal to you anymore. Same point that I just said. I'm just repeating it again. Okay, so let me just say this again because I think it's worth repeating 100 times, but I'll just say it one more time. The most valuable result of this healing process is that your radar and filter has been repaired and realigned so that dysfunctional and toxic people won't feel normal to you anymore. And and that's worth, to me, it's worth all the grieving and all these things that you have to go through to finally find your peace and happiness. Whereas in the past, the childhood wounds were distorting your filter and causing you to make poor choices and gravitate towards unhealthy relationships. This process of healing is painful but necessary to heal and be happy and find happiness for your future. So I do want to talk about this real quick. Uh, it's part of the grieving. If, as I said previously, if you this is something that you've noticed has become a pattern. Let's say the last 5 relationships have all failed in the same manner, or you keep picking the same type of people, right? I hear all the time where men and women say, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep finding guys that are emotionally unavailable? Why do I keep meeting men that are narcissistic? Why do I keep meeting women that can't commit, or women that are flaky, or women that can't can't make a commitment, or they have so many issues and drama, and why are they, I if you notice this is a continuous pattern that you're having in your dating or in your choices of your partner, then I would strongly recommend that you get some counseling, a trained licensed professional that can help you work through your issues that's causing this. And usually it's because of some kind of hidden childhood trauma. We all have, because we're not perfect, we were raised by imperfect parents or whoever the guardian was that raised you. Wherever, whatever your childhood environment was, there was something that caused some kind of childhood trauma in your heart, in your body, in your mind, in your life. And that's which it's become subconscious. And as you become an adult, you don't even realize when you're being triggered, right? If you have childhood trauma, there will be people and issues that pop up in your life that will trigger those those traumatic events that you've stuffed away deep in your conscious as a child. All you know is that you don't feel happy. You feel a sense of stress and or maybe anger, and you just want to block out that feeling. And so that's why we end up in relationships that are not healthy for us, because we're in a sense we're still we are subconsciously playing out some unhealthy dynamics we had with whatever parent or person in our childhood. And that's something I'm not a trained counselor, but there are, you need to find a trained licensed counselor that can help you work through these childhood traumas. It's worth it's worth the money to get into that and to finally heal yourself. Because folks, let me tell you, if you don't take the time to do this, invest in yourself and become and heal yourself, it will be very difficult for you to be happy. And unfortunately, you'll probably keep repeating the same behaviors, and the same type of trauma will keep playing out in all your relationships, and it'll be very difficult in each and until you do something different. It's just that the history will keep repeating itself. Just like, as you heard the phrase, if you if you keep doing the same thing over again and not getting results, right? Maybe it's time to try something else, and the something else is to get help and get counseling to figure out what is it that's causing you to behave the way you behave, and we're attracting the type of people you're attracting, and why, and how to finally heal from that, so you don't find yourself no longer attracted to people that are toxic. So just want to add that. So again, the childhood wounds were distorting your filter and causing you to make poor choices and gravitate towards unhealthy relationships. The process of healing is painful, but necessary to finally heal, be happy, and find happiness for your future. So, as a recap, the 4 tips is to grieve with a counselor, look for the silver lining and the lessons learned in your past relationship. 3, create your happy list and do the things on your happy list regularly. And 4, have faith and trust in the healing process. I hope this gives you encouragement, and hope as you go through this very tough time. As I said earlier in the beginning of this video, I realize tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and all the major holidays are coming up. And my heart goes out to those of you who are struggling and grieving right now over a relationship or a divorce right now. It is a loss, and it is tough. I've been through it. I understand. But you'll make it through. It's just a couple days for the holidays. You'll get through it. Try to be, like I said, start your happy list. Try to be happy. Start doing the things, even if smiling, even if you don't feel like smiling. That's better than frowning, right? And if you need to cry, if you want to vent and cry to friends and family, that's fine. That's fine. You need to vent out your emotions. I don't believe in stuffing your emotions. It's unhealthy to not be able to show and express your emotions in a healthy way. And I don't mean throwing things around or destroying things. I don't mean in a destructive manner, but there's nothing wrong with crying and grieving, because it's good to feel the pain and to let all that out. And there's no time frame on that. We all grieve differently. Sometimes some of us grieves longer than others, and some of us, it doesn't take that much time. But we're not here to compare ourselves to other people, right? So whatever works for you, however long it takes for you to grieve, just grieve. But don't, whatever you do, don't shut yourself away from the world. Don't hide in a corner in your room and just roll up into a ball and not associate with the rest of the world. You need to push yourself. And this is the time that you do need to be surrounded by people, and hopefully positive people, happy people. I will caution you not to turn to people that are miserable or unhappy or have drama in their own lives. That's not going to help you. I know they say misery loves company, but trust me, when you're going through this, you need to heal, and you need to be around people that understand and love you and care about you and have your best interest at heart. Very important. And just know that you'll get through this. I've been through it. Many others have been through this before you, and you won't die of a broken heart. I know this is funny. Well, actually, it's not funny, but in my last relationship of 8 years, I literally thought I was going to die of a broken heart. I remember telling my friends and my sister that I feel like I'm going to die of a broken heart. And my friends, they all kind of chuckled and said, "No, you won't. You won't die of a broken heart." But that didn't change the way I felt. And especially if you've been in love, right? Not every relationship, where some relationships you have stronger feelings than others, right? This last guy, I had very strong relationship. I had very strong feelings for. I was in love with him, And I think he was in love with me as well. But it wasn't a healthy relationship, and it was extremely painful. I really thought I was going to die of a broken heart, honestly. So I understand your level of pain, but don't give up. Worse off, do not hurt yourself. Do not think the worst. This is the time that you need to grieve. Like I said, grieve. Look for the silver lining. There's always a silver lining, right? If you need help in finding a silver lining, go to a best friend, someone who loves you. They can help you find a silver lining. Because sometimes if you're in the middle of grief, it's hard to think clearly. And so a best friend or someone that loves you will be able to gently nurture you and help you think through some very tough things that will soothe your mind. And create your happy list. That will get your mind. And another thing is when you're going through tough times, you people have a tendency to want to wallow in their grief. It's okay to grieve, but at some point you need to start being actively pursuing and healing, which, as I said, is to make your happy list. So when you have some time, and when you're doing things, it takes your mind off of the grief, and that's why I say during these holidays, go to your family gatherings, go spend time with your friends, right? Don't just sit home, because when you're out with your friends, even if you're not happy and you're not in the mood, you it's taking your mindset off of the negativity. It's taking your mind off the grief temporarily. I know you're still hurting inside. You're not going to just heal in 1 week. I understand that. But it's important to start the ball rolling in a positive way. Push yourself to do this. I know you can do it. I know I have faith in you. You can do it. So I hope this video has been helpful. And I just want to say my heart goes out to you. I'll keep you in my prayers for those of you that are hurting. And and also, by the way, if you do have time and you are starting to look at resources, you want to read about things that could help you in relationships for the future, you may want to think about getting my book, Kissing Frogs No More: The Secret of Finding Prince Charming. And if you're a guy, this is also, it's not gender specific, so this is for a guy too if you're looking for your princess. Okay, this book was very helpful when I was single. I wrote this book because I learned a lot in those 9 years before I got married, and going through the dating process, I learned a lot of the things, what to look for and what not to look for. And as you start healing, and when you get to a point that you're ready to go out and date again or find somebody else, this book will help prepare you, to help get your mind in the right way of thinking of how to date and how to find the right partner that's compatible with you. So, and again, this is just going to be a way. This book will also help in preventing you from making another mistake, or end up with someone that's not right for you. So I would strongly encourage you, if the book's not too expensive, it's a very short read. So, and by the way, all my books are a short read. I'm aware I myself am busy, and I'm not a big fan of reading 100 pages or more. I don't like reading the books that are long type of books, and I know you might be the same way, especially in this day and age. There's only 24 hours in a day. So if you work and then you have a family and then you exercise, you have all these activities going on, nobody has time to sit down for 2 hours and read a book, right? So I just want to say that all my books are very short reads. They're about 30 to 50 pages long. That's it. You could probably read it in 3 hours. So it's not going to be a major time consumer. So if you do want to get a book that's going to, I think, will be very helpful, please consider getting that book, Kissing Frogs No More. It's a very short read, and I think you'll gain a lot of insight in that book. Okay, and I just want to say, bless you. If you like and resonate with what I said, please click like and click share. If you have comments or questions, please feel free to put that in the comments section. And please subscribe to my channel so that you can know when the next video is going to be. So until then, I just want to say, Try to be happy, trust in the process, have faith. Have a great holiday weekend. I'll see you again soon after the holidays. See you in my next video.